to take it to Matt Morgan from ShoutAbout.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me. We've only been live for about 3 weeks with ShoutAbout, so it's really exciting to get to talk in public finally after more than a year of development. So, my name is Matt Morgan. I'm with ShoutAbout.org. I also have to say how cool it is to be among a group of people that are tech-minded. And I think just in the first 20 minutes, I found what may be a new service provider for our website. So this is a sort of version 1.0 of our site. I used to work for the Red Cross in communications, and our whole purpose was trying to tell people about how they could do something constructive about issues that they cared about. One of the issues that we found, though, and this came up frequently, is that if you were reading about issues in the news, if you were thinking about things, if you were finding blog posts, oftentimes this commentary or coverage was very good at turning you on to something, and making you frustrated or interested in the subject. But then you wouldn't know what to do. You can add a comment, and oftentimes it would be very spirited conversations. Or you could take a link, and then you can add that on Facebook or Twitter and tell other people that you know that they should read this as well. But there's tons of organizations out there that are actually looking for supporters, looking for donations, looking for people that do care. So ShoutAbout is a response to that issue. I work for the Haiti earthquake. We felt an earthquake here 20 minutes ago, but I don't know, how many of you guys donated or participated after the Haiti earthquake? Sort of show of hands. So the Red Cross was a big beneficiary of text donations and things like this, but it wasn't always apparent how else you could get involved. And so ShoutAbout aims to connect you once you know about an issue in the news with a wide range of issues. So this is our website, like I mentioned, ShoutAbout.org. First of all, I encourage everyone here to sign up if you guys have feedback or want to participate. My email address is matmatt@shoutabout.org. This is intended to be, when we first created this, similar to a Redditor did, sort of crowdsourcing news. People could add news. Other people then could add links to take action or learn more. So relying on the interest, the expertise of the community. We got feedback very quickly that people liked the concept, but they wanted to see it integrated where people were already going. So we took this basic concept and then we applied it and made it an embeddable tool. And we now work with news sites. And so PBS NewsHour is our big partner right now. And the idea is when you are reading an article and you get to the bottom of the article, this is the moment where you're most likely to think about and care about these issues. ShoutAbout then directs you towards opportunities to do something constructive. So anyone in the community, as you can see, it suggests action. People can vote that content up or down. And then anyone that's added content can track real time how many people are clicking. We do recognize, though, that there are oftentimes situations where people on the community don't understand what they can do to be constructive. And that's exactly why ShoutAbout exists. So on the back end, we've actually created a whole set of tools at ShoutAbout.org for any organization, nonprofit, political campaign that has these opportunities. And they can find real-time locations where ShoutAbout has been embedded and where it's relevant to them, and then promote their opportunities to different communities. So the net effect is that we're trying to make news a little bit more constructive, give people some opportunities to do something useful, and also connect with your own interest and expertise. So if you can't donate, there's a million other ways you can help out. So this is PBS NewsHour. We're working with a few other sites right now. We've got some great nonprofits on board. Nonprofits include AARP, Sunlight Foundation, Charity Water. But with that, we love your questions, and I think really, I was told that you guys are really interested in business models. So I have 60 seconds left, and I will talk a little bit about that first. So we are for-profit. We do intend to share revenue with news sites that we're working with. I think that appeals very much to the news sites that we're working with. So we do want to develop these tools out and make them really valuable for nonprofits and campaigns like I mentioned. We charge a small amount, a monthly subscription fee, to access our tools. And then from there, we also have to do a cost per click bidding on one of the links within the widget. So our next design is already on the way. Pretty shortly here, we'll have something new that we'll offer to new sites, taking into account some of the testing we've done. But pretty excited about the future. And that's my time. That's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to give you a great answer. So I'm the non-technology guy on the team. Full disclosure. So I have two great developers that are based in California. And if you shoot me an email at Matt@ShoutAbout, I'd be happy to help you. Yes, sir.
How have you found your team members and how do you collaborate with them, especially because they're in California?
Yeah, another good question. So I've had the idea actually for a while, and I found a few successful teams that I thought you could sort of gel. And pretty quickly they didn't work out. Usually it was long distance. What ended up happening for ShoutAbout here is that a very, very good friend and someone I really respected was graduating from my alma mater, USC. He just got into computer science degree. And so I pitched him right when he was graduating and told him about what we were doing. And he really liked the concept. And he also had a very good friend that he had had for about 10 years. And so they made a promise to each other 10 years before that, or throughout that time frame, that if they ever had an idea and they ever wanted to do a startup, that the other would recruit the other. So I was very lucky because I found a good friend and then someone that he really respected. And so it's a good dynamic. But I can't say from experience, you know, it's really tough to find developers. From my experience, they're like, oh, that's not an issue, we're a dime a dozen. And that's really not true. It's tough to find good people. But my advice would just be to find people that you trust and that you think are competent and that trust you. And that's really been, I think, the dynamic that's helped us work long distance for a long time. Yes, sir?
How has the user interaction been with the community so far? Have you seen a lot of people that want to chat about something with non-partner sites, and how have you addressed that?
So when we first started, we really hoped this would be sort of a really strong viral community. I think we had a nice dose of reality when we first launched. So the metrics that we are tracking success on are several, but the most important is click-through rate right now. Now we're just looking at this a little bit more like a traditional ad model. And so the click-through rate has increased over time as we've done A/B testing. Right now we're about 2.5%, I would say. And with our new design, we're hoping to increase that to about 4 to 4.5%. That's just a wild guess, like I'm pulling that number out. But I think that we found that some of the most engaging content is learned content, even though our sort of logic on this ACT panel defaults to ACT if there's any content that's been put there. So our next design will feature both ACT and learned content. We do find that people submit content. We find that most of it is added by people through our website. I think people like clicking through, and they also like voting. So that's much easier and sort of much simpler, light touch. I have time for one more question. Antonio.
How do you match the user to the organization that's requesting the action be taken? How do you find enough organizations that want to match up with users?
So that's a very good question as well. We recognize that it's a very complicated space, trying to find an appropriate action to take after reading about the user commentary. And there's lots of sites and organizations that exist out there that have relevant resources. So the route we've chosen to take is not to automate it. There was an API that was out there for a long time called the Social Actions API. And I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that, but it basically tied together about 40 databases from sites as diverse as Idealist and Salsa, and tried to tell people, based on the scraping of the article that they were reading, sort of things they could do. They would try to automate actions and resources. And what they found, and sort of what I've been able to discern, is that you have some actions that are really relevant, and then you have some things that aren't, and you have some things that are offensive. They're sort of on the same keywords. So what we've chosen instead is to make it completely sort of user-driven, organization-driven. And so it's up to them to find keywords that are relevant to them, and then decide, based on the context of the article, what to do. So working for the Red Cross, I would likely say something different to ask people to donate, even though I might be talking about the same event in two different articles, based on the tone of the article, based on the subject of the article. So it is nuanced, but we found that the user-submitted content tends to be more. Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your